There is a lot of people came here to discuss this item, become informed on it, and then vote on it. And the process was cut off, and the person said we should have raised objections to people not being able to speak. Objections were raised that people were not going to be able to speak. Members of the Board of Selectmen objected that they weren't going to be able to finish their comments, but the person making the call to question said, no, the call to question that vote must be taken right now. So all these arguments for cutting off the debate on here are ridiculous, and I'm certainly in favor of reconsidering this.
The motion that was made to call the question may have been illegal. I pointed that out, and I asked the moderator whether or not there was a second to the motion, and the answer was there was no second. The moderator stated that he did not believe that a second was required. Notwithstanding that, I am troubled by this motion to reconsider by Mr. Shipp. First of all, it's a motion coming from the Select Board, which already approved this 4-1. The second piece of it is that this goes contrary to the intent of the statute. So I would move to amend Mr. Shipp's motion to require that any reconsideration take place at least 7 days after the motion to reconsider is approved, on the basis that this is consistent with the statute. Had there been a motion to preclude reconsideration.
Amendment that you're proposing. State clearly your amendment that you're proposing.
The statutory provision, had the motion been not to require reconsideration, would have required a 7-day period before that became effective. What I'm effectively requesting is that any motion to reconsider be deferred for 7 days. And the reason being, simply put, that the voters who were here this morning who voted at 10:15, between 10:15 and 11:20, have gone home now. And any vote that took place now would be an abomination, because those voters can't be contacted and requested to come back. There should be at least adequate notice via newspaper, email, whatever methodologies are available, but there should be no possibility of a revote on this date.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Todd. What I have here. Mr. Tossick, you proposed an amendment, but I did not clearly hear. I heard a lot of verbiage. I didn't clearly hear that one sentence for an amendment that you want.
The amendment is that no vote of reconsideration can take place for at least a 7-day period, and that any reconsidered motion vote has to be noticed at least on the town's website and hopefully in a newspaper of general publication.
Okay. Can you write all that down, since that's a fairly long sentence for me, please? So we will know what we're voting on. We have to vote on your amendment to this, so I'd like to be able to have it clear in writing so I can give it to the clerk.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, sir.
I'm not so sure that that amendment's needed, because my understanding, even a vote to reconsider would have to take place 7 days later. And
No, that's not true.
I'd like to ask town council his opinion. Yeah, well, my intent was never to vote again today, and understanding that people haven't left.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I'd have to side with the town moderator on this. There was no motion to restrict reconsideration. I think that provision of the statute only applies in that case.
Correct. Okay, folks, we have an amendment to the motion for reconsideration, which I'm waiting for. Then we can vote on the amendment, and then we'll vote on
Mr. Moderator,
And if I may, I'd like to just...
I withdraw my motion.
All right, just a moment. Do you withdraw your second, Mr. Potere? Okay, and you withdraw your motion? I'll accept that as a withdrawn motion. There is no motion on the floor. So therefore, there is no motion to amend.
Great.
So you can stop right there. Thank you. There's no motion on the floor right now, sir. I'm sorry, but I'm ahead of him in line. Yes, sir, I know that, and I do not recognize Mr. Tussle. My name is Bruce Roberts, Cloudview Drive, and I move reconsideration. You move reconsideration? Yes, of Article 2. You move reconsideration of Article 2. There is no point of order. The other man has the floor here. Just a moment, Mr. Tussle. Mr. Tussle, please allow the man in front of you to continue his motion. Allow me to get a second without, then we'll let you speak.
Well, then I will ask that the audience...
Please, Mr. Tussle, is there a second of this gentleman's motion? Okay, we have a second. State your name, please.
Earl Miller.
Earl Miller is the second. The motion is made by, tell me your name again, sir. I'll get it. Bruce Roberts, Cloudview Drive. Okay, so we have a motion to reconsider on the floor by two other people at this time. Mr. Tussle, now it is your turn to speak.
Point of order, I believe that I still have I was requested... We may have outdone our batteries.
All right, I was requested to draft the amendment that the moderator had requested. I had not ceded my position at that point in time. I believe that as a point of order, that the last gentleman who spoke was out of order, since I still was in the position of drafting that amendment. I would now change my amendment to a motion to preclude reconsideration.
And we have a motion on the floor before you that has been moved by Mr. Roberts, seconded by Mr. Miller. No. For reconsideration.
All right, but then I will reiterate my motion to amend the motion to reconsider to preclude any vote on a motion to reconsider for a period of 7 days until adequate notice can be provided on the town website and in newspaper general publication to notify voters of this motion for reconsideration.
All right, thank you, Mr. Tussle. I have your amendment now. Do you want to present that to me in writing, please?
I think it's a fairly simple motion, but if you want to have it in writing, we'll have it.
Yes, I'll have to have it in writing, please. And may I go to the next person in line while you're writing?
I would like to say that it says here that a motion to reconsider an article may be made immediately after the vote on the article and may only be made by a voter who voted with the prevailing side of the vote on the article to be reconsidered.
All right, you're very correct. That is correct. So, Mr. Roberts, did you vote on the prevailing side? Okay. So, they are correct that you do have to tell us whether you voted on the prevailing side or not. The statute. The gentleman pointed out to me that, and he is correct, there was no oversight on my part. The motion does have to come. I'm sorry?
You have an illegal statute that forces me to
gentleman does not want to determine the state whether he voted in the affirmative or negative on that, and I do appreciate his suggestion. We'll deal with the amendment that Mr. Tossick has, and we'll continue to move along and recognize the motion on the floor. Well, I agree. The gentleman pointed out that the correctness of the statute, and the gentleman who made the motion does not want to give that information out. I'm going to let the motion stand as it is, so you folks can vote on what you want to do. And Mr. Tossick is drafting his amendment. Okay, there was a motion on the floor to reconsider Article 2, and it's further amended to require that any motion to reconsider be deferred for a 7-day period until such time as noticed on the town website and publication in a newspaper of general publication. Do I have a second on that amendment? All right, Mr. Bartlett seconds that. It's moved by Mr. Tossick. Discussion on the amendment.
I'll start the discussion by stating that as a matter of due process and what has transpired this morning, it would be unconscionable to hold a vote now to reconsider at the time that at least a third of the audience and voters departed from this meeting and cannot return because they wouldn't even know about this motion for reconsideration.
Next person to discuss the amendment.
Bruce Roberts, Cloudview Drive. I'd like to say that when I was asked by the selectmen whether I was a person who came here with my mind made up on this item or not, I raised my hand, but I was not. I had no dog in this fight at all. But the procedures that have been followed here, and with this calling of the question, and then the righteous indignation by the individuals who are involved in this, I find deplorable. This is not the way a town meeting is supposed to be. You know, a town meeting, when there are obvious differences of opinion on an item, and a procedure is put in place to stifle one side, and that's allowed to go forward, I think is what I object to more than anything else, not even so much the contents of Article 2.
Thank you. Next person in line for the amendment.
Becky Bryant, 155 Lakeshore Drive. I just have to speak to this amendment and say that to think it's unconscionable for us to do something when people have left a meeting. I've been coming to town meetings since before I could vote, thanks to my parents instilling in us our civic duty, and have voted, except for in college, been at every town meeting I can think of since. The town meeting day was published. We knew what we were voting on. And one thing my dad taught me was whether we were here till 1 o'clock in the morning, you stayed until the business was done.
Next speaker, boss lady.
Barbara Randall, Wildwood Drive.
Hi, Barbara.
I apologize, but I'm very confused. We have two pieces to this amendment. One, I believe, is don't reconsider, and one is wait 7 days. So if it gets passed, do we not reconsider and wait 7 days? And if it doesn't pass, then does it go away like the presentation by the select board said, we're going to decide once the final is over? I don't get it. Can someone explain it to me?
All right, the motion was made to reconsider Article 2, and the amendment is further
to require that any motion to reconsider be deferred for a 7-day period until such time as noticed on the town website and publications in the newspaper, in a newspaper or general publication. That was moved and seconded, moved by Mr. Tosser, seconded by Mr. Miller, I believe. So, yes, question?
Well, as I previously stated, it was my thought that we couldn't reconsider any sooner than 7 days.
No,
that's not true. That's not true. So I'd like to hear from, once again, from...
Yes, you may. Your council can speak again.
Yes, we've got an issue with competing statutes, and I believe I'd like to reconsider the opinion I gave earlier, because the Municipal Finance Act takes priority over the other statute that deals with motions for reconsideration. And I would have to say, as a matter of state law, that it would be required that there be a hearing in 7 days. It could not be reconsidered today.
Mr. Blackdown.
Brian Blackdown, Hansonville Road. I'm confused about... it might be a point of order. Did Mr. Shipp recant his then once, as a point of order, once he recants that, aren't all proposals after that just thrown out? So why are we even voting on some amendment that he took away? Or is there some new?
That motion was withdrawn by the second and by the maker of the motion.
Okay.
So that motion was off the floor. After that, Mr. Roberts came to the microphone and made the same motion.
Well, he
And
reconsidered again.
seconded by Mr. Miller.
Okay.
And
So we're not even operating on Shipp's reconsideration, we're operating on those.
correct.
And it was seconded, Robert seconded to reconsider again, and now we're voting on amendment again.
Am I right? We probably get battery error.
But the amendment's mute.
Mr. Tosser.
Just so that it is clear that the intent was that the motion to reconsider could not be held for a 7-day period, and that is consistent with the statute on the Municipal Finance Act, which Mr. Manpower just confirmed. And my only change is that it also requires publication in a newspaper of general circulation and on the town website. That's the distinction between that and the statute. Just so everybody understands that if this motion is approved to reconsider, you have to come back in 1 week minimum, and it has to be properly noticed before that time.
Thank you. I have read the amendment twice. Discussion on the amendment. All right.
Peggy Melbourne.
Yes, ma'am.
Mason Mill Road. I think for me personally, what's at issue here is the ability for people to be able to express a point of view. 4 days ago, we all came to the fire department building and voted. We went behind a curtain. We made a choice about what we thought. When I came in here this morning, regarding Article 2, I had no preconceived ideas. And what I valued in coming together with everybody here, whether I would agree with you or I wouldn't agree with you, was a chance to hear you out. Be able to just have people speak and to hear what my community really thinks and feels. Not just voting, not coming in here and just casting a ballot, but actually saying what matters to each of you. And in terms of the amendment, I support an idea for us to rethink and come together as a community and just discuss this in a civil way and express the points of view pro and con. So I would ask for that 7-day kind of break period for us to rethink this and to allow
either way, so I'd like clarification as to where the whole issue stands. The second thing is, we're discussing a motion that I don't even know if it's a valid motion, if it was supposed to be made by a voter on the prevailing side, and we do not know if that's the case. So there may actually, in my opinion, not be a motion on the floor. Thank you.
I suggest that the amendment to my motion is not properly an amendment to the motion. So I believe as you read it, you read that all reconsiderations at this meeting be held in 7 days. Could you read the beginning of that?
You are correct. It does state to require that any motion be to reconsider, be deferred for a 7-day period. So it is.
It's not an amendment to my motion. It's an item all encompassing for this meeting.
It is an amendment to your motion, but it does encompass other reconsiderations. All right, sir.
I'm going to move the question after I make one final comment. I came this morning and I was prepared to come in with 4 amendments to the proposed Article 2. In fact, the moderator was aware of that because I had sent him an email to the effect that there were amendments that were proposed, and I intended to speak just as much as a number of other people. I was troubled by the fact that there was a motion made to call the question. Whether that motion was legal or not, because when I came up and I asked the moderator, was there a second to that, and he stated no, and I just went on and I decided not to raise it any further. I had asked the question. As far as I was concerned, I would have preferred a debate. However, being that we did vote, and everybody came in, and they were represented that this was the time to vote, I think it would be an inequitable and unconscionable situation to have a revote without adequate notice of when the revote takes place. And therefore, I submitted this amendment to defer any reconsideration motion for a 7-day period in accordance with the municipal finance law, and also to require posting on the town's website and a newspaper general publication so that voters would be aware. And I think it's a reasonable amendment. Thank you.
And you say, no, come to the mic so I can hear what you said.
I said, and I moved the question after this.
Okay, after this gentleman speaks.
Ryan Wilkes, 21 Lucerne Street. You know, you've asked the question how many people came here with the minority made up. We don't live in bedrock. This is not the Flintstones. This article has been discussed extensively by the in their meetings. If people don't want to pay attention then, and they want to come this one day and discuss this, they've had their time to get all this out. That's why people came here with their mind already made up. Any vote that's taken now on extending this article, again, if that vote doesn't go through, it's because all those people that are opposed to it left. This is supposed to be a community center. What you're doing with this proposal is you're breaking up the community. You're making a team. The bad guys, the good guys, vice versa. You're starting an argument in the community. If this is not redone properly, you've already screwed it up the way you started in the first place. You shut the board members off. You shouldn't have done that. You've already changed the way things should have been done. This is still dirty politics. Everybody should have been here when all this is being discussed and not adding anything to it now.
I believe I applied the statute to and before you approach the line, sir, we have called the question on the amendment. All those in favor of calling the question? the question on the amendment, show me your cards. Okay, so those opposed to calling the question on the amendment, show me your cards. We will call the question on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment, which states the motion is to reconsider, and this is, however, to require that any motion to reconsider be deferred for a 7-day period until such time as noticed on the town website and publication in a newspaper of general publication.
Are we
Point
voting,
of order.
are we voting to reconsider at all, or just the amendment?
You are considering the amendment.
Not the reconsideration.
Just the amendment.
That is correct. You are considering the amendment. Another point of order. Yes, sir, Mr. Hill. But people can't hear you, and I believe I did answer the question. He stated that I did not answer the question. I believe I did state position to move forward with this. So now we have an amendment on the floor, and we're calling the question, Mr. Tossick. So I'll wait for you to speak.
Just so everybody understands, when you vote on this amendment, if the underlying motion by Mr. Roberts is approved, if that is approved, then you could not have a vote on his proposal, his motion for a 7-day period, and it would require the posting in the newspaper and on the website.
I think I've read it 4 times now. All those in favor of the amendment, show me your cards. All right, thank you. Cards down. Those opposed to the amendment, show me your cards. The amendment carries. The motion on the floor is to reconsider Article 4, but further to require that any motion to reconsider be deferred for a 7-day period until such time is noticed on the town website and publication in a newspaper of general publication. Discussion on the amended article.
Jack Porter, Alpine Park Road. I think I want to clear one thing up. The first thing is, the vote earlier wasn't the moderator's vote. It was the vote of the electorate here to move ahead and stop discussion. So we can't start pointing fingers at the people on the stage because it wasn't their call. It was the voters, and it was overwhelming. Number one. Number two.
Thank you.
The vote on Article 2 failed by over 61%. Not close when it comes right down. Forget the number of people that have left. I'm going to recommend that we vote down the amendment, number one. And if that's the case,
I've already voted on the amendment.
vote down the motion. And if that's the case, I will offer an amendment that says that we do not reconsider, and that way we put this thing to bed. So let's move it.
Okay. To amend this motion. To reconsider would further compound, and actually, in my view, may create 2 negatives in the motion. So I'm not going to accept your offer to amend this. You can stand there at the mic after we vote on this and make that motion, and that would be appreciated. Yes. So, any other discussion on the article as amended? You have a gentleman behind you, John. You can let him come to the mic. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Frederick Van Maddis, 37 Blanket Cove Road. This happens to be my first town meeting here in Moultonborough. Not my first town meeting in government, but certainly my first here in Moultonborough.
I'm hoping you're having as much fun as I am.
At this point, you probably do not want to read my comments. However, the reason I'm here before this microphone is to ask you, Mr. Moderator, through you, to town council. I want to know if your acceptance of this motion to reconsider is legal based on the fact that the maker of the motion will not divulge that he was on the prevailing side of this vote. And I challenge respectfully, sir, as the moderator, I challenge your ruling on that motion. Thank you, sir.
I will put that to the town attorney. Would you address whether the motion is legal or not, based on the fact that the gentleman making the motion would not disclose his position on the vote, and he should be in the prevailing side to do so?
I believe that the motion for reconsideration should be made by somebody who is not on the who is on the prevailing side. It's still at the discretion of the moderator to make that decision, which is subject to challenge by all of you.
Is that?
I believe the IRS require.
I was just asking if there was something to back that up, or was that as a
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
I believe the law does require that a motion for reconsideration be made by somebody on the prevailing.
Okay. Would the gentleman that made that last challenge please come to the microphone?
Right.
And sir, if you're challenging the moderator's decision as to whether to accept the motion or not, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I will put that to the vote of the legislative body.
Thank you, sir.
So those of you that wish to support his position, that the moderator should not accept the motion to reconsider, not knowing the position that the vote of the person making the motion. All of those that wish to overturn the moderator's decision on that, show me your cards.
Johnny, stop him, Johnny.
I don't think I'm going to have to count. Those that don't wish to overturn the moderator's decision, show me your cards. Okay, we're overturning the moderator's decision. Madam Clerk, the motion made to reconsider by Mr. Roberts, seconded by Mr. Miller, is now deemed by the legislative body unacceptable. So, with that in mind, I would be delighted to entertain a motion from someone else on the floor that's different from what we have had.
Mr. Moderator.
Yes, sir, Mr. Jack.
Jack Porter, Alpine Park Road. My motion is to restrict reconsideration, which means this thing is put to bed, and I look for a second. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Porter to restrict reconsideration and seconded by Mr. Tossick. Discussion.
No, I move the question.
All right, we're calling the question. All those in favor of calling the question, show me the cards.
Point of order.
You're right, you're right. Hang on, let me get the people in line. Mr. Howard.
To restrict.
Tom Howard. Terribly conflicted right now. I've been preparing for this meeting for 3 decades. And the opportunity not to speak was daunting to me, and now I decided I'm just getting in line. I'm just going to read the very first line of my comments on the entire article, just so that everyone can take this home with them. I love our community. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of calling the question? We're calling the question on the challenge to the moderator's decision. Thank you. Were you opposed?
No, you already did that.
Those opposed?
You already decided that.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry. I told you, this is why I'm giving this job up. We're voting, calling the question on reconsideration?
Correct.
Very good. Thank you. All those in favor of the motion to restrict reconsideration, show me your cards.
Okay.
Thank you. All those opposed, show me your cards. It is pretty strong in favor of restricting reconsideration.
Hey.
Let me just share the numbers with you. At the time we closed the polls for Article 2, closed the ballot box for Article 2, there had been 573 people checked in for a town meeting, and 568 of them voted. So, next article. Boy, this is going to be fun too. Article 16,